Miriam Hyde, played live for you on Classic Drive in the ABC by this magnificent woman, Tamara-Anna Cislowska. Tamara, why did you pick that piece out of all the things Miriam Hyde has written? And she's written so much beautiful music that you've been playing your whole life.
She has written so much. I mean, Vanessa, that was The Fountain from 1928. It's one of Miriam's really early works. And I think it's so beautiful, you know, you hear the rippling all the way up the piano. And something I heard her play quite a lot. And beautiful chords, you know, that she was using, quite unusual for the time. And it was only about 5 years before she was playing her own piano concerto with the London Philharmonic.
Did you know Miriam Hyde?
I did.
I feel like that's pretty great to be able to say.
It was amazing. And I was lucky enough, in fact, I've been really lucky right through my life so far to know incredible people. I grew up living quite near to where Miriam lived for a long, long time. And my mum, Nita Morn, was a great friend of hers and also a driver. And that was important because Miriam Hyde was not a driver. So
your mum, Nita, star piano teacher, she's taught pretty much everyone sensational.
She chauffeured on the side. she used to drive Miriam to, say, to the Sydney Conservatorium or to meetings for the Music Teachers Association or to the MEB, you know, where Miriam was always editing and doing new publications. And I just remember, driving with Mum, and I think she had an old Datsun at the time.
Nice.
It was a brown colour.
Adorable.
Very good engine. So battered little car, and we would pull up to Miriam's house. And who knows, she may have been composing to the last moment. And for some reason, it seemed to be always raining when we pulled up to Miriam Hyde's house. And then there would be this bonneted figure come out, very, very elegant lady. She was a beautiful mover, you know, just a mover through space. You can tell that in her music, but she moved so beautifully. And she would get into the car. She would always have a scarf over her hair. I mean, it was like Jackie Kennedy or something like that. And then she was so elegant and she had such a wisdom about her. I was a little bit scared of her because I was very small at this time and she just seemed
grand.
Because she was so poised, yeah, and because I knew that she had known Paderewski and I knew that she had met Vaughan Williams and all these incredible people, and Granger.
Yeah.
So it was really exciting for me, and I treasure the memories of Miriam always.
Someone else you know very well. Elena Kats-Chernin is going to make more than one appearance, I think, tonight.
I think I know them all, Vanessa.
And I'm a bit frightened about this one. I'm a bit frightened. What do you need me to do?
Well, I did send you a note about this, and I'm glad to hear. Someone has told me that you have actually been practicing.
I mean, I really need to practice more. I feel like you are Nita Morn to my Tamara-Anna Cislowska very young right now.
The thing is this, Vanessa, this is real life now. We're actually going to do this. So I want you to take it very seriously.
I do.
Because there's a lot of people listening and watching.
It's a beautiful, intimidating instrument. It says Schönhut. Mark well the name since 1872.
Schönhut. And it is an instrument. Don't be fooled by its diminutive size.
Okay.
So sit up, make sure your posture is good.
Okay.
Remember, keep your shoulders down, because when you play, one of the first mistakes people make is that they try to grab onto the piano with a vice-like grip.
As if one is tense and nervous. It's
never going to work. So imagine that piece of Miriam Hyde, if I started grabbing the piece. The thing is, you have to run up the piano, right? You have to make a gesture. So you don't have as many notes as me, but they're very important.
And just at the start, yeah.
Very important. So I want you to do the intro. We'll have a practice. So I want you to do the part that goes. Yeah. So get those four. That's it. That's
great.
It. So now relax, breathe, deep breaths. Deep breaths. We're all counting on you.
Thank you. The Eliza Aria.
I am proud of
I mean,
you.
I only hit one note and
I'm
I
really
somehow missed the
proud
other
of
one
you.
at the end. But, you know, I did my best, and that's all anyone can do in the wake of all the intimidation of playing next to Tamara-Anna Cislowska.
Well, the most important thing is you did it at exactly the right moment.
Oh, very
And
good.
you know that timing is really everything.
That was the Eliza Aria by Elena Kats-Chernin. There will be more of her on the way. I've got a text here, 0437 236 777. You should also have the live stream up of this very live drive today, abc.net.au/classic. I'm Vanessa Hughes with you until 8 o'clock, but for the next little while, we are just hearing the divine playing of Tamara-Anna Cislowska. And someone has texted in, Tamara, saying that they're so looking forward to tomorrow's, you know, they just want to hear a concert of Peggy Glanville-Hicks. And they are so excited to hear you play tonight. And I figure that you probably brought some Peggy Glanville-Hicks to play tonight.
I
as
did.
It is. So if it
I
even...
brought two pieces of her.
You can do that for us right now. So which one are we going to hear?
Well, I want to play you two. So I want to do, first of all, this beautiful prelude for a pensive pupil.
Ah, is
It's
that
very
you?
appropriate
Are
for
you
right
the,
now.
Are you the pensive pupil? I'm feeling rather pensive.
The prelude
But
for
I'm
the
just
pensive,
glad I passed.
prelude for pensive pupil. And then I want to do a more experimental one, which kind of shows the really wild and interesting side, shall we say,
She
of
did
Peggy.
cover a lot of ground in her career, and so many different sounds, from the just divinely sweet and easy to things that are pretty out of control.
She did, and she knew so many people, and she had interests in so many different worlds, and I often think that's what makes a really great composer, because it's not just sitting in a room and coming up with things from your imagination. Something has to inspire you. So what inspires you the most is life, and Peggy absolutely lived an extraordinary life.
Peggy Glanville-Hicks, a prelude for a pensive pupil.
Isn't it a beautiful language, so expressive?
Lush.
You know, it is. And it's a very interesting, the way it's pretty much all on the white key. So it's got this, almost like plain chant feeling to it. And there's something about that particular piece I don't know what you thought at home or the listeners thought, but it just goes straight to the heart every time I hear that piece. It's quite passionate as well.
But now something very different from the very same voice. We've got obeisance to a Lucite spectrum.
Yeah, you did well with that. I have no idea what that means.
0437 236 777. Tell us how to say that
Tell
word.
us how to say it and what it means. And I'm just hoping that playing through this, we don't cast some sort of spell and suddenly we disappear entirely from the Eugene Goossens Hall.
Well, magic.
I think it's
might
possible.
be the day for some magic.
So this is by Peggy Glanville-Hicks, and she wrote it. It's just a one-page piece, and she wrote it for John Cage on his birthday, September the 5th, 1949.
Obeisance asterisk to a Lucite spectrum.
Happy birthday.
To John Cage.
Would you? Pretty funny birthday present. It's sort of experimental.
I mean,
did you like those parts?
It was cheeky.
It is cheeky.
It is quite a treat being on the receiving end of Tamara's intense looks, which are very funny. Christy, you say wonderful to see me performing alongside Tamara-Anna Cislowska. I mean, such as it was. Yes, it was indeed. 0437 236 777. You are listening and watching, I hope. Classic Drive. I'm Vanessa Hughes. This is Tamara-Anna Cislowska. If you're thinking, watching what? Go to abc.net.au/classic and pull up the live stream, because now there are some actual bells and whistles. What do you need me to do?
I brought you many gifts.
I mean, so many gifts.
Many
Look at this.
gifts.
There are bells, cymbals.
Finger cymbals. They're very bell-like, and they're very heavy. Actually, that's very professional. That's a professional set of finger cymbals.
With the price tag from Germany still on.
You didn't have to say that, Vanessa. Anyway, you also have a mallet there, so on top of the piano. That's very useful. So you're going to be creating the atmosphere for this piece, because the one thing about this piece, Broken Rosary by Kate Moore, is it has a lot of atmosphere, and it's about a very emotional, memorable moment in her life when her grandmother had bequeathed her some rosary beads. Her grandmother died in the year that she was born, so she didn't know her grandmother, but she had these beads, and as a very young child, she was playing, and you can imagine she broke them.
Yikes.
And you can imagine, so that moment of the beads breaking, and as they started rolling on the floor, and just think the horror that came over that poor little girl. And this piece is about that moment in time that stops. So in a way, it's a little bit minimal, but Kate Moore has a wonderful gift of describing what happens around you in life, not just what's happening in her inner life. So that's your part, Vanessa.
Yep. I brought some beads that belong to my own grandmother. So
you're well, this is perfect.
Yeah.
This was meant to be. So you are working with the beads.
Yep.
Now, we're going to do things. I also got you e-bows. Now,
these are
wonderful.
very fun.
Yeah, they vibrate the string.
Yeah.
So if you put them, wherever you put them, they'll have an impact. So
I'll put them upside down, haven't I?
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
Ooh,
You see?
it's very
So-
synthy.
Haunting, yeah. They're often used, they're actually designed to be used on guitar, but they work beautifully on piano. So you're going to do that.
Yep.
Why don't you also, we want that sort of, the sound of the angst. So there's a glass there. Can I have that? Yeah, and let's have a go with this glass. If we do, listen to this.
Very Twilight Zone.
Try.
Here we
So
go.
just here. But do it the other way, so face. Okay, see? You're born to do this. All right. Every
Yes.
Friday we're going to have musical experiments
Prepared
together.
piano.
Okay, so Broken Rosary. So
Yeah.
I'm going to start about a third of the way through. So there's 3 pages to the piece. A third of the way through, you come in and create the atmos. So I'm not going to give you specific direction, but I want you to listen and respond to the chords. They'll change slightly.
Broken Rosary by Tamara-Anna Cislowska, played by Tamara-Anna Cislowska by Australian composer Kate Moore. And I didn't even get to the cymbals tomorrow.
Played by Tamara-Anna Cislowska and...
with some very important
featuring
work with these excellent oboes. Now, we are running short on time, unsurprisingly. You are listening to Classic Drive. I'm Vanessa Hughes. This is Tamara-Anna Cislowska live just for this Festival of Female Composers that you tuned into. This is just the first day of 4 amazing days. You're going to play us some Clara Schumann. Which piece is it?
I am. I love Clara Schumann. I think she was an incredible pioneer, and her music is so warm, so tender, that I die for her music. I want to play, I think it's a piece not that well known. It's called Larghetto from 4 Fleeting Pieces.
The wholesome romance of Clara Schumann. The first in this little set of 4 pieces in F. Got a few texts coming in here tomorrow. 0437 236 777 if you want to get involved. Jolyn says that Clara Schumann, so beautiful, just what I needed, from Gippsland in Victoria. And Michael appears to be making trouble and calling for a duet between us, which I think we both know
Wasn't that a duet?
quite like a proper duet, like your program duet, Thursdays at 3 here on ABC Classic.
Shall I drag Vanessa onto duet?
I'm not
What
sure
do
about
people
that,
think?
unless you want to hear cymbals for an hour.
We have never had finger cymbals.
But he says,
Never.
nice to see an oboe used on your piano on something other than a guitar for ultimate sustain. You are listening to Classic Drive. I'm Vanessa Hughes. We've got time for 2 more pieces tomorrow. I wonder if for someone who just looks on and sees you and knows that you and Elena Kats-Chernin have this amazing musical and connection and partnership and friendship.
I think that people think that I've got her under house arrest because I just keep finding projects that she has to do.
What is it about her music that you keep coming back to?
Honestly, it is like flying close to the sun. It is really like being next to a pure source of creativity and of, it sounds corny, but of all the good things and of all beauty and hard work and all these incredible things that we know women have in abundance. And as well as that, she also has this incredible drive, which I admire so much. The persistence, the drive, the willingness to take every opportunity to live through hard times. You know, she had, the whole family had difficult times in Moscow, then coming to Australia as an immigrant. Then she was in Germany, another new country, navigating all of this, having her 3 boys and then bringing them up as a single mother, coming back to Australia on her own. All of these things, just one of them would be enough for most people. And yet through all of that, Elena worked so hard and kept believing in her dream. She didn't go and take an office job like a lot of people would have to support the family. She kept on with her dream. And I just think she is the most brilliant example to every woman, every man, everyone. And I just love her. And I play her music at every chance I get.
And why this chorale?
This chorale is so fascinating because there's not as many notes as she usually writes. She loves writing a lot of notes. So it's quite sparse, but it gives you the time to think and the time to feel. I think that's the best way I can put it. And it's a piece that she wrote on New Year's Eve. So just think about that. You know, you might have regrets, you're reflecting on the year before, and you're thinking about what might happen in the future.
Oh, that's a bit of an abrupt ending.
It's arresting, isn't it? I find whenever I play that piece, I always think of something different or something else is evoked to me. And it's one of my favourites of all of her works.
And there's a lot of beautiful stuff to choose from.
There's a lot of works, a lot of albums to choose from.
It has been such a pleasure having you. I feel like we're flipping the duet arrangement here with you playing and me asking you the questions this time round.
Well, you tried to surprise me by sort of springing this on me, and then you said, that I could play whatever I wanted. And now you just keep saying we're running out of time.
We are running out of time because there's too much good music. And this last composer we can't skip because I'm very happy to say it's you.
It is me, so I can abridge if required. I can abridge.
What happened here and how did you come to write this recovery rag?
Well, this is an amazing story, actually. And this is a piece that I never set out to write. I got an email from a beautiful man called Kevin Stewart I think about 1 year ago. And he asked me if I would write a piece for his beautiful wife, Bronwyn Stewart. And he said he'd heard me performing with Elena and he loved that music, and could I write something for her to play, because she has been a pianist. And he told me all these beautiful things about her, what a wonderful mother she was, how she'd been an educator. And it was so clear to me that he was such a loving, beautiful husband. And so I saw this and I immediately thought, I must do this. And so I started writing for her. And she didn't know anything about this. This was a surprise. It was going to be for their anniversary or for Bronwyn's birthday. And of course, right at that time, everything else happened. There was lockdown, so there was no way I could go across to them in Western Australia to play this for them. Okay. So actually, I've never played this recovery rag in public, or certainly on radio, but I have played it in a recital for Bronwyn and Kevin Stewart on Skype.
Oh, how special.
So, yes, it's just been sitting there, and, well, they have the manuscript copy of it, but I have a copy. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to write something, I wanted to write it in the rag genre, but
everyone loves a rag. They're just so cheerful.
But something where there would be things like just space, there'd be some sunlight in it, and I wanted to try and capture something of Bronwyn, not to do a portrait of her in music, which isn't really possible anyway, but just to write something that maybe would inspire her to come back to the piano, and also would, recovery rag, so this helps you to regain your spirit, and when you're in lockdown and everything seems like you're just uncertain of what's going to happen. So that's what I tried to do, and she said that she likes it. Excellent. She's asked me to play it. I'm not sure. We'll have to get her to do it next time.
But we've got the radio debut. The public premiere of the recovery rag. Tamara-Anna Cislowska playing for Bronwyn and a little bit for her total dreamboat, Kevin, who commissioned that work from you. We've got a couple of texts here, Tamara. Extremely beautiful, thank you, says someone. Loving this time with Tamara-Anna Cislowska. John says, she was my prelim examiner, but he then didn't know who you were. Frightening.
Okay, hope I gave a good mark.
Thank you so much, Tamara, for playing for us on this beautiful live special edition of Drive.
It's a pleasure. It's my favourite thing to do, play the most beautiful music possible with the most beautiful people possible.
Thank you so much for listening, and for all the ABC Classic team who worked so hard to bring this live stream to you. Drive continues for another few hours, so don't go anywhere. Christopher, you've also texted in to say, what a shame it is that you've only been ensorcelled for the last few years, when you could have been hearing Alice Mary Smith and her beautiful clarinet andante your whole life. That's your pick for the day, Christopher, and you've got it now. It's a real beauty.